Assalamu alaikum. Hi everybody. So welcome to the part 3 of the blind auction. So in this video guys, we're gonna see the real explanation, the complete explanation. We're gonna finish this blind auction, and in this video you're gonna know many interesting things about this contract, like if we use instead of using false for the fake, and if we use true, what's gonna happen. And we're gonna also see if this contract is actually hiding the deposit. Okay, is it actually hiding the bids or what it does actually? And we're gonna go in the code, and we're gonna explain the actual code in this video guys. And we're also going to see some errors that we made in the last part, the part 2. I'm gonna see why we get those errors and everything. We're gonna finish it in this video, and if you do have any question at the end of this video, you can ask me in the comment, and I will try to have a response for you guys. So first of all, I did a bet. Okay, so for these comments, instead of writing each one in a line, so I just put them in one line. So, and I added a comma so that we can taste it very quickly instead of copying each one. So let's actually see, let's deploy it. I think we need to deploy this. Okay, so I also type this so that it's gonna be more easier to deploy it. So Control C, and as you see, this address is exactly the first address. Okay, so let's pass this, deploy. Here we go. So now the first one is gonna do the first bid. Okay, and in order to do the first bid, so because we're gonna need to use this hash, so I entered 4. Okay, and I'm gonna double click so to copy this hash, and I will pass this, and now I will send. Okay, and it will works correct. And as you see now, it's not 48 but it's 0.00 and 4, and because now I'm using the way. Okay, and why I choose to use the way now? Because I figure out that the errors that we get when after revealing, is the reason why we get those errors is because we were using the ether, and we need to use the way. And that's because in a moment when in the reveal function there is a part where we are comparing the deposit, okay, with the value, okay, with the value for the reveal function in here. And when comparing them, there is also if the deposit is high than the value, which is gonna be always high, because when using the ether is giving us a very big value, not like this. That's why it's always bigger. But the problem is, and then this condition will work, but the problem is gonna be in this, because we need if the value, okay, if the value that the participant or the bidder is used to bid, we need to return that value if it wasn't bigger than the highest bid. But when returning this value, there's gonna be a problem, because the value is a uint, okay, is an unsigned integer, but the refund is in ether, and this is a problem because the ether is representing a huge number. But now, because I'm using the way, if I check these bids, okay, and if I enter, for example, I will check this current one, okay, I will copy this address. I know that the time will pass, but anyway, we're gonna deploy it again. So if I check the first bid for him and I call, it's now 4, okay, it's 4. But if I use the way, for example, let's see, I will do the second one, but I use now the ether, okay, and I will use this hash, which actually representing 6. That's why I use 6. And if I pass that in here, if the time didn't pass, okay, the time is already passed, right? Cannot call after. So let's deploy it again so that you can see the difference. Okay, I'm gonna delete this and I will copy again, or just deploy, right? It's now deployed, and let's see now. I will test now with 4, okay, and I will keep ether. I will choose this one and I will use the hash, okay. If I put it here and I do the bid, and then I will copy this address and I go to the bids, the array that will contain all the bids of the participants, and I will check the bid for this first, and I will check the first bid. If I call, you see the deposit now, because I'm using the ether, the deposit is a very big number. And then if we are using this big number and when returning the money back, so as you see, the refund will be this number, okay, and we are subtracting the value, which is gonna be just 4, right? And this is actually making the problem. That's why we got problems in the last video. So now let's actually use the way, because using the way is actually the right way, the right method to use this contract, okay. So that's why basically I'm going to delete it again, as you see, and I will deploy it again, but I will also reload so that we can start again with the accounts with values handle ether, right? So it's gonna be more clean. And yeah, so let's open the contract, let's deploy it. Let's actually yeah, let's deploy it and deploy. Okay, right, let's open it, and first, as always, I'm gonna check that one, and I will keep it in way, okay. And for the bid, of course, I'm gonna use the first hash, which represent 4, okay, and I will pass it in here, make sure, okay, do the first bid. If I check this bidder, if I check if it actually works for the 0, if I check, so it's now 4. So let's do the second from the same guy, okay, 6, and I'm gonna copy the second, okay, and I will pass it bid, okay, so it works. If I check now for the second one, which is we're gonna use the index 1, it's gonna be 6. Okay, right. And if we check the highest bid, it should be 0, because the highest bid will only change in the revealing part, right? And let's go to the third one. I will need to change the address. Yeah, let's copy, and we need to send the ether far away, and let's do the bid. Right, let's go to the last one, because maybe the time will not be enough. That's why I will just go to this one. Okay, and this is gonna be, should be 53. And as you see, also the numbers is the balance in the contract is incrementing. Okay, make sure this is the first. Let's bid. Okay, let's actually check this, the fourth one, because I think the time's still there for the bidding. The bidding didn't end yet, so the revealing didn't start yet. So let's check this one, the 0, and it should be 53. Let's go and check also this one, and I should copy this address, put it here. It should give us 40, right? If we click, it's actually 40, and this is the blinded bid, right? So let's start now for the reveal. Okay, in the reveal I should actually switch to the account, because the reveal should be from that actual person. Okay, so as I said, in the reveal I actually changed, so instead of having 3 rows, I'm gonna use one line, copy it, and just paste it here. And if I click reveal, yeah, it works. And now, as you see, if we check the highest bid now, it's 6. Okay, nice. If you check the highest bidder, it should be the address of this guy. Okay, so it's actually this address, this one, CB2. Okay, CB2. So let's reveal the others. Okay, let's do the reveal like the others also, the reveal the bids. Okay, reveal. If we check now the highest bid, it's now 40, and also the highest bidder should change, right? So it's working correctly. And let's go to the last one, and let's copy, and let's do the reveal for this one. If we do the reveal, it's correct. The highest bid now, it's 53. The highest bidder is this guy. So now let me just delete these things, because we're already using the last update. Okay, so that also the reveal will end. Let me check. If I click now the auction end, so because if the auction actually ended, it will send the money to the beneficiary, right? If it didn't end, it will not send any money, because now the beneficiary has 99. Okay, so let's auction end. It says the function has called early, so the time still there, didn't end. The revealing time didn't end yet, and let's the ended should be false. Okay, let's check again, maybe it ended. Okay, not yet. Actually, now we didn't actually enter to the code yet. Okay, but I think that we should actually, because there is this array which is for the, if you have already read the contract or try to read it, You know that this array or this mapping is allowed to withdraw the previous bids. So because this one is keep tracking of the overbidded bids. Let's check again if the auction is ended or not. So it seems that didn't end yet, and this is the address of the beneficiary. So I think that we should make this one public so that we can see the bidding. Okay, we can see the people who will get their money back, right? So let's make it public. So for the next, just for the next deploy, that we can, so that we can see the bidding returns. And also for the secrets, we are not using them anymore because we have already put those secrets here, as you say. So I think I will just delete them so that things becomes more clear. And yeah, let's check again for the auction ended. So now the auction is ended, and as you see, the money is now decrementing, right? Because the beneficiary now should receive the money. Okay, and as you see, but actually didn't receive anything, right? Or maybe he received. I think that he received, but we can't see that actually because I wasn't, because it's these two numbers at the end which actually should be incrementing, because we are just sending the way. Okay, we are just sending the highest bid, which is 53 width, right? But anyway, and also now if we check again this one, as you see, the bidding is just zeros, because after each when anyone does the reveal, it returns this to zeros. If we check any of others, let's for example copy this. If we put it in the bids, also the blinded bid should be 0. Okay, it's 0, but the deposit keep being 4. If we check also for this one, again it's zeros. Okay, and we're gonna see that in the code how does that happens. Okay, so now let's go finally let's go to the code. Right, so I'm gonna reload this again. Sorry for the time, it's gonna take a bit of time, but anyway, if you are actually interested, then I know you're gonna follow along. And if you are not interested, then it's no problem. So this is the contract now, and as you say, this first line, which is about the license, okay, the license of use, which is general public license, okay, that means anyone can use it, okay, and it can be used called from other contracts. And then we have the pragma solidity, which defines the version of the compiler that we can use, and in this case we can use any compiler with the version highest than the version 0.8.4. and then we have the name of the contract, so which is blind auction, and then we have this struct which defines the bid, okay, and each bid has two attributes, we can call them attributes, or two states. The blinded bid, which is the hash, okay, the hash that we are generating using a function, a hash function, And what is actually a hash function? A hash function is a function that takes any string, any input. Okay, the input can have inputs can have different length, and then the function is generating a hash code with a fixed length. Okay, so and this is the deposit that we are sending. So when we send a value, this deposit is gonna hold that value for this bit. And then we also have these states, okay, the address of the beneficiary. So this is the beneficiary that holds the beneficiary, so that we can use this address to send the money at the end of the auction. And we have this blind end, which is a uint, which is the number of the seconds that should be there for the bidding. And we have after the bidding the number of seconds for the reveal to end. And we have this state which is ended, that is gonna be true at the end of the auction. And there is this array of bid, okay, that we have already used to see the bids of the participants using their address and an index. And we have the highest bidder, so that we can keep track of the address of the highest bidder. And we have also the highest bid, which is the amount of that highest bidder. Okay, and then we have this pending returns, which keep track of all the overbidded amounts that we should return back to the participants that they didn't win in this auction. And then we have this event, and events are actually used when we want to emit an event to a website, so the website can know that there is a change. And this event is about the end of the auction. So when the auction is ended, for example, in the website, we will see that the auction is ended, and we are sending the winner and the highest bid, so that anyone can see the winner and the highest bid in the website. But we are not using this for now. It's just there that we can see it and understand it, because we don't have any website for now. And we also have these errors, and the first one says to early, and it has a argument time, and it also will print this error if this error is called. And we also have this too late, and it does almost the same time, but now if the time is too late. Okay, and we also have this error, which is the auction already called. So if we call the function auction end for the second time or for the third time, it will give us this error with this message: the function auction end has already been called. And then we have the modifiers, and I know that you should already know what is in modifiers. And the modifiers is used to check for a specific condition. And as you see, we are checking, for example, in this one only before, we are checking if the current time was bigger than the time that we are giving, then it will revert this error. Okay, so we are using actually this modifier to make sure that the function that we are calling it in before a specific time. Okay, and this one is almost the opposite. Okay, only after. So we can only call a function when we are using this modifier, we can only call that function after a specific time. That's why we are checking the current time if it is small than this time passed in the argument. And this underscore is actually representing the body of the function. And let me actually give you an example, but after. So as you see, we have this revert, okay, and it is too late. So instead of just writing an error message here or writing something, we are calling this function, okay, and this function will just print this error, okay. That's why we have this revert, and we are calling this error function. And now let's go back to this underscore. So this is representing the body of the function. So for example, and if you have already some kind of code, if you already know what is a middleware, for example, these functions actually, or this modifiers is like a middleware, okay. So what happens actually is, for example, let's give you an example in the bid, okay. So in the bid function, we have this only before, okay, and we are giving this bidding end, okay, and this means that this function can only be used before the end of the bidding, okay. So whenever someone calls this function before running this body of the function, we are running this function and we are checking if it is actually before the end of the time. And if it was actually before, then we will return the other code, or the next code, right, which is the body of the function. But if this condition happens, which means that the time is bigger than this one, means that the time pass, then we will just get this error, right. And then let's now check the bidding function. So in the bidding function, I think I don't need to explain this, because you already know that we are using this just to generate the hash that we should use for the blinded bid. So for the bid function, we are sending a bidding, the blinded bid, which we already see when deploying this contract. So, and there is this only before, so this modifier makes sure that we are only using this function before the end of the bidding, okay, of the bidding phase. And when entering this input blinded bid, so we are assigning this blinded bid to the blinded bid in the bid struct, okay, because this is the struct, and this is an array that holds all the bids, okay, all the bids for a specific bidder, okay, and it's for that specific bidder is gonna be the message sender, which is current bidder, okay. And each time the bidder does a new bid, we're gonna add this bid to this bids array. We're using the blinded bid, which is a hash, and the value that the bidder sent, okay. And then after the bidding, okay, we will do the reveal that we have already seen. So in the reveal, we have 3 arguments, okay, 3 arrays. The first one is gonna have the values as you see in this one. So we have the values, the first value, the second value, and then the second array, which is this one, for example, is gonna have the fakes, okay, whether is it actually fake. If it is fake, it's gonna be true, and if it is false, it's gonna be, if it's not, I mean, if it's not fake, it's gonna be false. And we will also see if it is true, okay, if the fake is true, we're gonna see what's gonna happen. And then we have the secrets, and they are passed to the byte 32, okay. So for the reveal, after the bidder enters these inputs, then we make sure that this function is only called after the bidding, okay, and before the reveal. That's why we were getting some errors when calling this function before the bidding ended, right? And then in this function, what we are doing is, first we are counting how many bids this participant does, okay. So we are calling this bids array, we are getting this current bidder, okay, and we are seeing how many bids he has, so that we know the length and we know how many. For example, in this one he has 2, okay, so if he has 2 bids, then this array should contain 2, and this one should be 2, and also this one should be 2. If he has only 1 bid, this one should be 1, 1, 1. That's what we are checking here. It requires that the values dot length is equal this length, means the number of the bids, and also for the fakes should be the number of the bids, and also for the secrets exactly the same. So after this requires, if this requires didn't happen, okay, there's gonna be an error and it will not work, and we can test this in the next deploy. And after that we have declared this refund, which gonna keep track of how much we gonna refund. And actually we are not in the situations that we test, we are not actually refunding anything, but in the next deploy I'm gonna change something in this hashes so that we can test and see the refunds, okay. So what this does, after declaring the refunds, it's 0 at the beginning, right? When declaring a state without a initial value, then the value will be just 0. And then we have this for loop, which gonna loop the number of the bids, okay, and each time it's going to declare new bid to check, and it's gonna be the, for example, the bid to check, it's gonna be the bids message and the first one. For example, if he has 2, then this length is gonna be 2, and this one is gonna be at the first time is gonna be 0, and then it's gonna be 1, and this represents the bids, which is each bid is gonna be a blinded bid with the deposit, okay. So each bid to check is gonna have a blinded bid and it's gonna have a deposit. And we are also extracting the value and the fake and the secure from for example, in this one, when we give these arguments, okay, we are using exactly this. So in the first one, we are extracting the value is gonna be 4 and the fake is gonna be false, and this is gonna be the secret. Okay, so this is actually these ones. Okay, the value, the fake, and the secret. And then what we do, we are creating a new hash using the same function, because when using a hash function we cannot go back. Okay, we cannot go back by using the code. We can only go into one direction. We can only code again that using the same values and then compare it with that hash to see if it is correct. So we are comparing the blinded bid with the result of using these values that the participant are using, which we are exporting, which we are assigning in this line. Can also make this one like this. So after we compare them, if they are the same, okay, if they are the same, then this code will run. If they are not the same, okay, if they are not the same, then it says continue, which means all this code will not happen, okay, and it will refund 0 because the initial value is just 0. Okay, so but if they are actually the same and the revealing is correct, what's gonna happen? The refund will now be exactly this deposit. It's like we will refund the whole deposit. Okay, we are adding this refund to we are adding this deposit to the refund, so that if he has many bids, then each time we're gonna add a new bid to the refund. Okay, and each time it also, after it adds the deposit to the refund, it can also minimize it from the refund if these two conditions happen. So the first one, if the fake is false, so if the fake is false, that's why actually we are putting the fake to be false. Okay, so if the fake is actually false and the bid to check and the deposit is bigger or equal to the value, then we are calling this function called place bid. Okay, and this function is returning true or false, and we are passing the message, the address of the participant who is revealing, who is calling this function, with the value. Okay, we are not calling it with the deposit, but with the value. So if the deposit was bigger than the value, there might be some ethers which gonna stay in the contract. So if this function returns true, then the refund, we are subtracting the value from the refund. So it's like we are not refinding this value anymore now. Okay, and so if we are not subtracting it, then we are not sending it back. Okay, and after so in each for, so when you do each reveal, it also updates the blinded bid to 0. Okay, so so whenever someone does a reveal, he can't actually do another reveal. Okay, and not only that, also if the reveal wasn't correct from the first time, then he can't then even if he does the second reveal, it will not work, because now we updated this blinded bid to a blank, okay, to a just a zero. So he will just lose the money if he didn't reveal correctly. So, and let's now see if this the fake, if someone for the fake, he instead of sending the fake with false, let's see, he entered true. So if he enters true for the fake, then this will not work, and we are just sending the money back, okay? So, and this happens because in the blockchain there is a problem, okay? And the problem is because this is a blind auction, and the participant will send their money, but because this is a blockchain and everything is visible, then anyone can check in the blockchain explorer, okay? He can check for the Ether explorer, for example, and will check for the same address, and he can see what other people are sending, okay? And he can also know the highest bid, okay? Because everything is visible in the blockchain. So even that it is a blind auction, but there is a way that someone can check the explorer and see the real money that people are sending. But what he can't see is he doesn't know if those money are actually fake or not fake. So someone, for example, can send a very huge amount, but he is also sending it as a fake amount, so that after he reveal his amount using the contract will send the money back to him. And if someone sees that amount and he tried to adjust his amount, for example his bid, to that big amount, then even if he win, he's gonna lose a lot of money, because he didn't know, he just adjust his amount to that big amount, and he doesn't know if it was fake or it wasn't fake. So that's what makes this blind auction actually a blind auction, okay? It's not that when we are using this hash, okay, it's not that when we are using this hash is actually this hash hiding the amount. The hash is not hiding the amount. It's the hash is only says if this amount is fake or not fake, okay? And if it is not fake, then it will be compared to the other amounts, and it can be the highest bid, and you might win with this amount. But if you send it as a true, then this money is gonna just return back to you, and it might distract someone and make him think that you are actually sending this money, and he will, for example, send a big amount, and this can be sent as true from the group, the actual group of this blind auction, okay? So if they want to make the participant who are checking the explorer, if they want to make them distracted and to make them try to send a big amounts, okay? So it's like actually trying to It's not trying to cheat, but it's kind of strategies. Okay, so that's what happens if we send the bid with true as for the fake. So if the fake, as you say, if the fake was true, then this will not work. Okay, this condition will not work, and all the refund will be returned to this participant. Okay, if it was actually revealed correctly, but if it wasn't revealed correctly, then he will lose the money. So, and this is the function withdraw. Okay, so for the withdraw function can be used by the participants at the end of the auction. Okay, so that the participant who didn't win, they can get their money back. So what we are doing, we are declaring an amount that will be from this pending returns, which is this state here, which would just make public so that we can actually see what it keep track of it. So it gets that using the message.sender, which is the address of the current caller of this function. So it checks if the amount is bigger than 0, then it will make it 0 and it will send that amount. And then we have the auction end, which checks to make sure that this function is only called after the reveal. Okay, after the reveal end. And basically I think this function should be only called from the beneficiary, but anyway it can also called in this contract from anyone, and there is no problem because we are making sure that the reveal time is ended or not. And if the reveal time is ended, okay, because we are seeing only after the reveal end, then it will check for this ended. Okay, so if this ended was false, okay, if it was false, then it will just emit an event and then make the ended true, and then it will send the highest bid to the beneficiary. Okay, it uses transfer to send the money to the beneficiary. This is the address of the beneficiary, and it will transfer the highest bid. But if the ended was true, okay, it will give us the error that says which is this function that returns the error with the message that this function has already called, which is actually this one. Let me check it and go back to it, which is this one. The function auction has already been called. So, and then we have this place bid, which is actually this function in the reveal. So I forget to explain it. So what it does, so after we make sure that the fake is false, so that means that it's not a fake bid, and we also check that the deposit is bigger than or equal to the value, to this value. Okay, then we are calling this function, which is this one, with using, let's go back to it. Actually I should, so we are sending the address of the sender with the value, with this value, which can be in our case that we say 46 or 40 or 53. So this function is actually just comparing. It's just comparing, as you see. It compares the value, okay, with the highest bid. Okay, and if the value was smaller than the highest bid, it will return false, and if it returns false, then it will not subtract this value, it will just send the money directly. Okay, yeah, it will send the money after the end of this loop for sure. And if the value was bigger, okay, than the highest bid, and as you also see that if two people has the same highest bid, then the first one who did the reveal is the first one who we are going to keep. So, and if the value was bigger than the highest bid, then it will first it checks if the highest bidder was different than the blank address, means that there is already a highest bidder, then we are adding this highest bidder to this array of pending returns, so that we can return the money to this one when he is going to use the withdraw function. And we're also updating the highest bid, and we're also updating the highest bidder, okay, to be this bidder, and we return true in this case. And if we return true, then it will subtract the value from the refund, so we will not send the money back to the participant, because he might be now he might be the winner of this auction. So now what we're gonna do, we will deploy this contract for the last time, and I'm also going to do a small update. For this one, I'm gonna put it as 16, so, and I will put this one as 8. So I did this so that this this one, which is, let me try to find it. So this function will return false, okay, when comparing. So when this one is gonna be the highest bid, then when we're gonna compare this one, which is 8, the value is 8, and the 8 is less than the highest bid, which is 16. This function will return false, and it will send money from the contract to the bidder. Okay, so let's deploy it, and let's copy this, put it here, and yes, let's deploy. Okay, let's open the contract, and let's use this first hash, put it here, and put 4 in the value, and let's switch to this account, and let's do the bid. Okay, if we check this address just to make sure everything working, let's do it very quickly. So it is 4, correct. So now let's do now 16, and let's copy this second one, the hash that represents 16, and yes, let's do the bid. If we check now, this one should give us 16, correct? Let's switch to the third one, and this is gonna be 8, and let's copy this hash that represents 8, and let's do the bid. If we copy this address very quickly and copy it here, and because there is only one bid, if we call it, we see it. Oh, for the last one, the value is gonna be 53, and we're gonna copy this hash, this blinded bid that represents 53, and we're gonna do the bid. Okay, that was correct. If we check for this one, it should give us 53, so everything now is correct. If we check the highest bid, because there is no reveal yet, so it's gonna be 0. So let's now try to do the first reveal. So in order to do the reveal, we need to use exactly this one, but let me use this one, and if I try, because this one he doesn't have any bid, so it will fail, right? Let's call it. I don't know if the bidding time is ended yet or not, but we're gonna check that. If we do the reveal, what type of error it gives us? The transaction has been reverted, the function has been called too early, so the time of the bidding didn't end yet. The reason why I'm putting this using this address is because I want to check this error that says the bids. It uses the bids of this address, okay, and check the length. And because this one he didn't, this one is just the address of the beneficiary, we can use any other address. For example, this address didn't even do the bid, so the length is gonna be 0, and this is gonna be should be 0 0 0, and it will be different than this, so we're gonna have an error. So if we try it again, you see now the type of error that we get is different, okay, and that's because, and the reason for that is because of this require, okay. So let's do the reveal, the actual, using the actual address, which is this, and if we do the reveal now, it should be correct as you say. And if we check now the highest bidder, it should be the address, that address, and the highest bid is now 4. Very interesting. Okay, it is 4 because I messed up and I keep this 6, and 6 is not correct. But even if it is not correct, as you see, because this is not correct, okay, it just containing. So anyway, I think that I should okay, so anyway, you can try to do now you know how to deploy. You can deploy it in many things and see the results, but for me now I will just keep revealing the others. Okay, I will use this one using this address, do the reveal. It is correct. If we check now the highest bid, it's still 4, and that's because I have to change this one to not be 40 but to be 8. You can do that, but I don't want to do it again because I will spend a lot of time, but this one is correct, and I will just copy it and put it here and check to the last one, and if I check the reveal now, it is correct, and the highest one is gonna change to the 53. Also the highest bidder will change now. Okay, everything correct. And there is also this pending returns, so the only one who will get the returns back is the first one. Okay, because the first one when it was 4, okay, it was 4, then it changes from 4 to 53, so that's the only. So if we check this using the address of that first one, we're gonna find that it should be, let's copy that address, so it is okay. I should copy this address, the address of this, copied, and pending returns, it takes only the, I should enter the address, and if I click, it is 4, so this is the only one who can get the money. If I change to this one, it means that the only one who can withdraw the money. So if I use this address, okay, I think that I didn't copy it. Let's go back. This one should give us 0 because he doesn't have anything to withdraw. So let's check the auction end now. If I check the auction end, so the auction now is end, and if I check this ended, it should be true because the auction is ended now. If I click it again, it should give me an error that says that you have already called this function. So the function auction has already been called, and now as you see, the money also have sent it in the first time. Okay, and that's why we are required that this function will not be called more than one time, because if it was, then it's gonna send money 2 times. Okay, it's gonna try to send money, it will not send, but it's just going to try to send money because there is no money actually. And as you see, these monies that still here is 28, and now I'm gonna switch this address to withdraw the 4 ways. Okay, so after switching, if I click the withdraw, you're gonna see that the money will decrease. If I click, as you see, it's now 24, so this guy should be get the money back. Okay, if you keep track of the video, you're gonna see that this one should increment, and now as you see, this money is still in the contract, and this is a problem because this money will be in this contract forever, because there is no way to get this money back. So maybe we can change the code. You can try to do that yourself in a way that that the beneficiary or the responsible or the deployer of this contract can actually get this money and make sure that this money will not just stay in this contract, because this money, if they stay in this contract, they will just stay there forever and no one can use them. So this is actually almost everything about this contract. I hope that I succeed to explain almost 60 to 70% of this contract from these 3-part videos, and it's good to try to deploy this contract many times, and basically I spent many days to understand this contract and to try to explain it to you. So thank you for watching. I hope that you try to understand this contract more clear, and don't forget to comment below about the good and bad things about the video so that I can improve many things. And thank you.